from the top. We're buzzing fresh Kils at his studio.
It's actually from the bottom.
Hey, Fresh Kils, it's Cyndi and Jessi. Okay, so.
You reminded me.
No. Multitasking, it's very possible. It does. I hear his music. Let's follow the music. Wow, look at him. He's so edgy playing music in an apartment complex. Aww. Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, good, how are you?
Good. Welcome.
Nice space.
It's sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's always best.
I was just.
I'm recording on my way in. Is that okay?
Yeah. You can keep your shoes on. You're good.
Really? Do you lock the door? Anything?
No, it's okay.
Great space.
No, come on.
Is this the space that's on YouTube in your videos? Wow.
It's the same building,
Yeah.
but I was in another apartment down the hall.
Ah.
So, yeah. Come on in. Get yourselves at home. How you doing? Just
JD.
Pleasure.
Call me JD.
Cool. Come on in.
She's JD on the podcast. JD.
Do you need a table to eat?
Actually, no, I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was good, I guess, huh?
It was.
It was hungry.
I got some bottled water for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we keep hydrated.
Do you mind if I just put this here?
Yeah, no.
And,
Mi casa, su casa.
Aww.
Just make yourself at home.
So this is
Don't-
your live-in studio?
This is it.
I like it.
Yeah. I've been in this building for a long time, but like I said, I was down the hall for a bit, and it was a junior one-bedroom, and it was a great setup because I had this walk-in pantry that became the booth, which was perfect. And at first I was a little worried about moving in here because it was expensive, and I moved up with my girlfriend, and so
Yeah.
I broke up, so my rent was doubling. You know that? You know, and you
that's
break
fine.
up, the thing breaks up, and then you got to move somewhere, and you're like, oh man,
Life
this
is more expensive.
Sure, thank you.
Welcome.
And then this apartment opened up, same floor,
Yeah.
and it's almost twice the size of my old place. It was only $80 more a month, which is
Nice.
crazy,
Amazing.
crazy. But it didn't have a walk-in pantry, so I was boothless, which is the main part of my business. So I was a little bit concerned with what I was going to do, and so I built this monstrosity here.
I like it.
Handy as well.
Walk through the kitchen. Oh, I'm not. No. Good Lord, no, please don't. No, it was my friend. I assisted a friend doing it, and it was. I did something really stupid. I'm moving down the hallway. It's the easiest move in the world. I don't even have to pack. I just grab stuff. So I'm gonna. It's so easy. So I'm just gonna pile everything in. I'm gonna build a booth, and what else did I do? I decided, I was like, the cable guy, the couch, we'll just do it all together because it'll be so easy. And then it turned out to be the hardest day of my whole life. And it was like the hardest day.
Like physically or emotionally?
Physically, everything was
Yeah.
it was just one thing after another. Everyone came at once. Like the cable guy had to climb over this couch in the door. There was sawdust everywhere. It was totally crazy. I
You
took the
reflected
easiest
on your
move.
life?
I took the easiest move in the world, yeah. I took the easiest move in the world, and I made it the most difficult. Crate diggers?
Crate diggers.
Yeah, I'm a crate digger.
You're a crate
For
digger.
sure.
I went out with a
Hopeless.
crate digger. His music came before me. It's okay. You know what?
That's
Everyone
the story
has
of
a
my
passion.
life. No,
Everyone
that's
has
the
a
story.
passion.
That's the story of my life right
It
there.
has to be though,
That's
right?
it. I suppose.
I mean, it's
In a business like this, where there's it's the Wild West every day. There's no rules. I can't call. Like if someone screws you over in the music industry, there's no one to call. You can't call the better. What is it?
Better
Business Bureau. You can't. There's no one's gonna pick up the phone for
Yeah.
a musician, right?
Oh, so where do you get your support from?
It's funny like you're asking this because somebody got at me recently about getting health insurance. They're trying to get musicians together, enough musicians together to petition for insurance.
Yeah.
For not health insurance, something else. Dental. Sorry,
Dental.
it was dental.
Dental will be helpful.
Yes.
Good
It
Lord.
is so crazy expensive.
Yeah, I got a sweet tooth too.
Oh my god, me
bad.
too.
Yeah.
Should just pull all my teeth out now. I already lost one at the far back.
I lost one too. Do you know what's funny about it? You lose a tooth and it's like, you still look the same.
Yeah.
But there's a part of you inside that dies a little bit. Like there's a part of your confidence that gets chipped
You're
away.
right. It's
That's
never the
true.
same again.
If you analyze, I used to have dreams about my teeth, and I had them analyzed, and that's what it's about. Like dreams about teeth getting smashed or losing them. It's about your not just your outward appearance, but your self confidence. It's like very directly related to that, apparently.
That makes sense. I don't dream about my teeth. I don't think I've ever dreamt about my teeth, but I always used to think about my teeth. Just have the fear of, falling down and breaking my front teeth.
It's kind of scary. It has a weird
It's a very
to it.
vulnerable place that you
Yeah.
end up having to go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the process of it too, fixing it is just
I
kind
did
of a
it.
nightmare.
That happened to me. I broke my two front teeth when I was 18, and in front of HMV, and they didn't want me to sue them, so they just paid for it.
That's nice. At least.
Yeah. So, but
Was it ice or something or?
Ice? What do you mean, the
Did you
band?
slip on ice?
Okay. No.
Why would they pay for it?
Was it in the 90s, early 2000s? The band. It was a Canadian band called Head. I don't know if do you remember that?
Yeah.
Head. Yeah. But I went to see them in concert, and I was inside the store, and I was really hot, so I went outside to get air, and I fainted on my face.
Oh damn!
And it looked like right when I got up, someone's like, They thought my teeth were shoved up in my gums, which would have been worse.
Oh.
They cracked to the gum.
Oh.
It was So I went.
Even hearing it.
I know
like,
it's
ugh.
disgusting. Anyways, you don't want that to happen.
It's like the ghost pain. Like the guys all have the ghost pain of their crotches. Like if they see someone get kicked in the nuts, there's like it hurts there. Actually,
Phantom
watching
limb.
it,
Phantom
it
limb.
totally it
Right?
hurts to watch.
Like
It does.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It hurts for us to watch too.
Yeah.
I can't imagine though what the pain is like.
It's like an ice cream headache in your crotch.
Oh, that's a good way to. So it's like
Brain freeze.
brain freeze in the
In your crotch, and it's really bad.
In
Yeah.
the little head.
It's that kind of pain. You know the thing about the brain freeze is it's so painful when you can't escape it. It's like
yeah.
and you just that's what it's like. Yeah.
It's like an ache.
But
Oh my
downstairs.
gosh.
Oh.
That is so
But
scary.
downstairs. So I was gonna say we have some old J's if you want to smoke at all.
I'm not a smoker.
You know, okay.
You're not a
okay.
smoker.
I'm
Because
not a
I know you're at the
smoker.
porch, but yeah,
This is
go for it.
No,
Go
you
for it.
go for it.
So what brought you to the hot box for 420?
Exactly. What the hell am I doing?
What were you
at
doing
the
there?
hot box for 420 if I'm not a smoker?
Yeah, this is my little take on James Brown's Funky Drummer.
1, 2, 3, 4, get it! 1, 2, 3, 4, get it! 1, 2, 3, 4, get it! 4, get it! 4, get it! 4, get it!
Thank you, Hot Box. You guys having fun?
No, I'm just curious. How did you get there? Like what?
Lance. I know Lance very well.
Who's Lance?
Landscape. And he's an incredible producer.
Mm.
Like, he is unreal. Like, he's one of those guys, he's been around forever. When Red Bull started doing beat battles in the States, they would do the national beat battles. They wouldn't do it in Canada, it was all in the States. And so there was a small crew of Canadian guys that would drive to Detroit and enter. Frank Dukes was one of those people. Frank Dukes won the national Red Bull beat battle from Toronto, but he had to drive to Detroit to do it. Landscape was one of the first guys to go do that, and he lost in the semifinals. And anyway, great producer. I've had to battle him before, which sucks. It sucks both because he's great,
Mm-hmm.
and it also sucks because I have to tell the story, and then I won. So it's like,
oh, you
that
won!
also sucks because he's my friend, and that's
that's
just like,
pretty. That's
I think
an
it's
honor.
fabulous,
It's an honor
yeah.
though to.
I've won a few battles. That's kind of how I started to. This thing really took off when I started battling because it was the live beat battling,
And when did that
and
start?
I was sort of built for it. I won in 2011, so it would have been 2009 or 10 it started. So the Lance was the reason why I did it, but the reason why he thought I would be good, not because I'm a smoker, but because I'm entertaining, and it's different. Like you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and
It is.
and
It
it's
was
kind
great.
of like it tickles your brain, and and kind of in good ways.
She
I
missed
hope.
it. She missed it,
I
unfortunately.
missed. I caught the tail end,
you good.
and then I saw you socializing.
Yeah, I was very.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
blown away because I'm like
And she showed me a video today.
Well, I-
and
Okay.
I was,
Oh, yeah, on YouTube.
Very, very impressive.
Really
You
cool.
are.
Okay.
And it's,
Thank
you
you.
know what's really amazing,
Mm.
and I love, is that you really honor your gifts. You know, you're so aware of your gifts.
Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty self-deprecating.
Oh,
My
okay.
friends, I just claim everything all the time. Battle compliments. It's not a. There's that one area, like, there's the one area when I'm on stage when I can be that person,
Mhm.
but most of the time I'm very meek.
Ah, interesting.
You know,
Well,
so
isn't
there's
that kind of
one area.
the front face of the artist, and then there's the other.
You all
other
need
parts?
that. You need a place where you're king. You need like an area. You need a place in your life, an area that that's the thing.
Oh.
Because otherwise, if it's all losing battles everywhere, then you're. I said losing battles. It's kind of pointed because
Isn't that
I'm a battle
interesting?
champion. But there was a sound battle royale which was run by a good friend of mine, Tanika Morgan, who you guys might have heard about. She was in the news. She crowdfunded her Harvard tuition. I don't know if she was in the news. She's really she basically was living. She went from living in the streets of Toronto to getting her education, like working and financing her own education, getting accepted to Harvard, but then how the hell do you afford it, to crowdfunding her tuition. So she's been on she's been like this, she's this story, and it was really funny because when I met her, she was organizing, she was a promoter and she put me on some shows and she organized this beat battle, and it was so funny because here's this person who, and she has all these horror stories about, like, as a female working in hip-hop, it can be extra hard because the misogyny is just rampant in that particular scene, I think more so than other scenes. I mean, I don't know. Those are arguments and discussions to be had, but she used to tell me stories about trying to deal with promoters and other people that just wouldn't take her seriously, and of course she's running circles around everyone, and she's done incredible things. Like, she was running the Beat Academy, which was doing production workshops for kids, and so she was doing education. She was running a vintage clothing business for a while. She did 2 years of the Sound Battle Royale, which completely championed me. Like, I became the poster boy, and that event did so much for me. And then to finally see her kicking so much ass was just the best, because she's been working so hard behind the scenes and no one knows. And I'm the one benefiting from all of her hard work over those years, I'm the poster boy for these pad things.
So tell me about this pad. Is this what you're talking about, the equipment?
Yeah.
So what is this?
It's an MPC.
Nice.
It might make noise if I bang on it.
Should I move the mic up a little? Maybe.
Well, no, I'm just gonna. If I'm
that's
hitting
okay.
It, it's gonna thing. Yeah, it's an MPC. This is a
Can
hardware
I
unit.
look?
Yeah,
Is it
touch
okay?
it. Go.
Oh, awesome, Jessi.
I've
Or
been
JD.
really- This is D'Angelo record I'm chopping out.
D'Angelo?
D'Angelo.
Oh my
You know that
God.
D'Angelo song?
Yeah. I know D'Angelo. Like, I remember that video where he's kind of naked and it's just his face. I think you know it too. Is this the video?
Yeah. Where he's like, hi.
Yeah.
And he's so sexy, and everyone's
Yeah,
just
he's
like,
all
wow.
sexy. Oh my God. So is this a new invention, this thing? Like, what is this? Has this been around for a
It's
while?
been around. This is actually really old. I have the new one. This is the newest incarnation. But I'm kind of straddling right now because I spent so much time. Like, I have a decade of work on this machine.
And what is this called?
It's an MPC, an Akai MPC. But this whole pad layout, I mean, there's a lot of different types of controllers now. it's one of an army of options that producers have these days, and I don't know whether you would call it the original. I guess the MPC is sort of the original 16-pad layout, and it's created by Roger Lynn, and he basically sort of revolutionized. He took like there were all these synths that were in samplers that were rack mounts units that you had to like attach other controllers to, and he was the first guy to create it as a more interactive piece to play with the pads, and then it kind of took off, and it's really become a staple of hip hop production. I mean, I actually live for this moment where because I'll go to a show, and especially hip hop shows, I'll get looked over. You know, people.
Really?
Someone will look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, okay, he's some skinny hipster white guy at a show, whatever, cool."
And then you're like, "Let me show you something."
Yeah, or they're worried. You know, this happens a lot where they're worried I'm going to grab a microphone. They're worried I'm going to rap because I don't look like a rapper or someone that they'd be interested in listening to.
Does that make you want to rap?
Good Lord, no. No, I don't want to rap at all.
Show them.
I have no. You know what's funny? I never wanted to rap. I never wanted to DJ because I had friends. I had opposite role models. There were people that I knew and I met that were rapping that should not have been rapping. That were terrible. Yeah. And I didn't like it, and I didn't want to be them. And I had friends that were DJs. Like, everyone was a DJ at one point. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that either. Everyone's going to do it. It's not interesting to me. It's like, I didn't love it enough to do it for myself. So I just kind of stuck with the production engineering. And then when I started doing this stuff, no one was doing it. So it was like, once I started doing it, it was like a hot knife through butter at a certain point. It really clicked because, and it clicked in really funny ways. Like, there was a rash of bookings that I got one year where I would get booked to play right before the big headliner. So there'd be all these other hip-hop acts, and then they put me on before, like, Ice Cube or something. Yeah. And I was always like, that's crazy. Like, why am I getting this gig? And part of the reason, and I didn't realize, it took me a while to figure it out, was that if you go to a show and you listen to 2 hours of rap, if you get rapped at for 2 hours, by the time the headliner's on, you're just getting browbeat, you're being yelled at for 2 hours. So I become this nice sort of palate cleanser before the headliner, right? Because it's still hip hop, but it's not rapping. It's still entertaining. It's still fun. Yes. It's fun to watch, and it's diversionary from what you've been getting beat down with all night. You know, I'm on autopilot now. I practice like that was the thing. The process of the battle, I wouldn't sleep. I would practice so hard, like just because I was so scared. I was so nervous, and I'm a Virgo. I'm the classic Virgo. So I'm like self-analytical, you know, hard on myself, pessimistic, you know, that whole thing. So I practiced my face off, and it was so funny too because I would always go in. I remember the battle that I won. We got the Price is Right theme song.
Did you watch The Price is Right at all?
I did. I did love it as a kid, for sure.
How old are you, may I ask?
I'm old. I'm 36.
Oh, you're not old.
Wow, you are so old.
The problem with that sample is that when I started chopping it up, I was like, in my mind, again, in my self-deprecating mind, I was like, well, no, I can't do anything else with this sample. Like, everyone's going to do what I'm going to do because this sample's really hard to work with. Like, unless I just loop it and put drums under it, it's going to be boring. So I really tried to screw with it, but I still didn't think that I had done a very good job.
Bob Barker. Happy Gilmore. Did you ever see Happy Gilmore?
I don't know that I have. Oh, cool. Did you said you slowed it down and looped it?
Yeah, heavily slowed down. Well, yeah,
the price is wrong, bitch.
Right, like I do the whole thing.
The price is wrong.
Who the fuck are y'all?
I love it. Yeah.
But I really thought that I didn't think that anyone was gonna, you know, I over prepared, and then I went in there and I did well. Yeah. I won the battle, but I also won the battle because I was battling. Producers don't battle each other in that same way. Like if you're watching a DJ battle, the DJs are going to call each other out. They're actually going to they're going to find sounds that are the other people's names. You're going to put other people's names into the thing. You're going to point people out. You're actually going at each other. And a lot of the producers, and I come from that. I love turntablism. I loved the DMCs. I have good friends with. I came up in Halifax with Scratch Bastard, and I know Tilo, and I know those are all my guys, and I love what they do so much. So I came very much from that world, and actually a lot of my battle routines they're essentially turntablist routines in terms of their structure.
There's so much good television sounds, I bet, from the 80s.
It's funny you mention
70s.
that because people keep telling me, they're like, oh man, you should do the G.I. Joe one, you should do this one. The reason why the Transformers work so well.
Oh
yeah?
We were talking about it.
The reason why the Transformers thing works so well is because you're absolutely right. There are so many sounds that are identifiable, right? It's the same thing with Star Wars. There's so many sounds that you know exactly what it is. But if I were going to do G.I. Joe, how many sounds from G.I. Joe would you recognize? The laser shooting, okay. It's one of the villain's voices. You'd maybe know Destro and the yeah, you're not supposed to do it.
Okay. All right.
But
you're changing it. You're changing its form.
I don't know. I am a firm believer that sampling is an art form. That's what it is. I don't care what anybody says. There may be laws about it, but it's definitely an art form. And I found that the medium tends to be the message when it comes to that stuff. So, for example, if you're gonna send it to television for licensing,
right?
Don't sample.
Right. Just yeah.
That's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're putting on a record, if you're gonna sell 1 million copies and you get busted for sampling, we're gonna have champagne because you sold 1 million records. We're not gonna be like, fuck, the lawyer came and took all my money. It's whatever. Your only responsibility as a musician is to make the hottest shit you can make. So if you want to cut off your index finger when you're starting, fine, I don't care. But I've been in so many situations where when I first moved back to Toronto, I went to school and I was working for K-Cut, who's a famous he's in a famous group called The Main Source, and I was his engineer for a few years. And he was working with this young guy named Watts. When I met Watts, he was 17, 18 years old, and he'd already had placements he'd already done songs with Redman, Jaheim, Foxy Brown, Young Guns, and this kid, he didn't care about a bloody thing. It was sample this, sample that, but he just went. He was just creating, and he was young. And this is the other thing, the gift of youth, right? He didn't have a job. He didn't have to worry. He lived at home with his folks, knocking out beats 24/7, just working on his craft. And he was free, and he was so incredibly good. And there were none of these confines about. There were none of these rules about. Don't sample or. All this kid had was a little computer and 2 little speakers, and he came to the studio with beats that were ready to go. Ready to go.
How old was he?
He was 18 at the time. And he ended up going on to produce for Kid Cudi and all these other he's doing, I think he's on a French label right now doing big house stuff. But I remember being in Halifax and guys not letting me look at their records. Hoarding their records, and everybody was like, you gotta sample, you can't buy reissues, you can't sample reissues, you can't sampling MP3s was just the worst thing you could do. And then I come to Toronto and these kids, no one cares about anything. It's like they're gonna get the placement or you're gonna get the placement. There were all these rules holding everybody back on the one side, and then here I am and there's this kid just running wild, kicking all this ass. And it was really inspiring. So I think the other thing with the sampling is I was part of a record that was Juno nominated called Vaudeville by Decisive, and he had been busted for sampling a record for his song Nobody with a Notepad, and he didn't get busted for doing the song, putting it on his record. He didn't get busted for doing the video. He didn't get busted for pushing it as a single. He didn't get busted for selling it. He didn't get busted for touring it, and he was one of the more well-known artists in hip-hop artists in Canada. He got busted
I
because
knew that was coming.
yeah, how'd he get busted? He got busted because he entered a SoCan songwriting award contest, right? For a song that technically he didn't write, right? And they won. He won $5,000 because it was an online battle, and who was he battling? Who are the other songwriters in the contest? Chantal Kravietsek. Well, her fans don't live online, right? Hip hop fans live online, so he won that by a landslide. And he gets a check from SoCan. That's what SoCan does. They collect royalties for artists. So you're winning $5,000 from a copyright, from this company. That's what they do, and you don't own the rights to the sample in the song. So medium's the message, right? Like, put the record out, do a video, sell your record, tour it, do all your things. But don't enter a SoCan songwriting award contest where you jacked 8 bars of someone else's song. It gets ugly because once you've been busted, it's kind of crazy. Because what happens is they immediately go, well, we take all the money from the song right away. So any money that the song generated, we get. That makes sense. If it's a single, what's a single? A single is a commercial for the record. So you use this song to sell the entire record. So then they get money from the entire record too. And then they do that. Then they say, and this is where it starts to get crazy. They say, the lawyer says, my client, who in this case was Lamont Dozier, who's a famous Motown producer and writer, my client, I represent, royalties and publishing in the, his library of music, his publishing is worth tens of millions of dollars in his case, right? We're talking Motown hit records, so 10s, 20 million, who knows, maybe $100 million, that publishing. And your association with Lamont's work has hurt our brand, has affected the worth of that to the tune of just add zeros. Like, it's like emotional damage, right? It's like I'm in a car accident, I didn't get to see my kids for 2 weeks, so you owe me like whatever the hell I can dream up, a number, So it starts to get crazy, and they settled out of, they settled. I don't know what the amount was for. I don't know how it worked. The other crazy thing, they ask you have to cease and desist. You have to destroy all the hard copies. You have to send them proof that you've destroyed hard copies.
Like pictures of you burning things.
Doesn't that sound ridiculous?
That's great. They want that.
They want that. They want you to picture of you burning CDs.
Seriously, oh my god.
That's crazy, right? This is gonna be really loud. It's gonna be really loud.
Many millions of years ago, on the planet Cybertron, life existed, but not life as we know it today.
I'm on stage, I'm talking, I'm mouthing.
You can talk if you want to. Do your thing.
No, it just feels silly.
Autobots and Decepticons.
We're your audience.
But the brutal Decepticons were driven by a single goal: total domination. They set out to destroy the peace-loving Autobots, and a war between the forces of good and evil raged across Cybertron, devastating all in its path.
Crime told me there'd be days like this. Crime told me there'd be days like this. Crime told me there'd be days like this. And you didn't believe it. Autobots, transform!
Oh my god, that was amazing! I love it.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you're in your center, your happy place when you're performing?
Yeah, performing is the spot. Definitely. Yeah, it became addicting too.
I would imagine.
I really I've been doing last 4 years 150 shows a year.
150 shows, and you're traveling around
All over Canada and the States and Europe. So and it really got out of control. Like 1 year I did 187, which is like that's like every other day.
Any interest to travel to South America?
I'd love to go. I've always wanted to go.
That would be actually a great idea.
That would be amazing. Amazing.
I think they would appreciate it.
They would.
I think so too.
Beats,
Yeah.
like beats and
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Huh.
the universal language of music. I was gonna say, would you still be able to play the 8 is Enough? Do something
What's
with it?
8 is enough?
It was a song or a show from
It
the
was a show,
70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
If you look up 8 is Enough theme song, I know which copy is a good one.
Is this
one of
number
my-
one of our list?
It's one of my it's one of my favorite. Can I plug my phone in?
Yeah, please.
Okay. It's one of my favorite theme songs. I mean, I watched so much TV growing up. So the best one is the one with the picture of the family, because one of them, that one's not the good one.
This one.
Yeah.
No. Wait.
Yeah, that one. Oh yeah, not Where Are They Now? Actually, I don't.
Yeah, I'm down.
Now this is another version. Go back again. They had like a scroll down a
It's
little.
not the season intro?
That one with the family. That is it.
There's a magic in the early morning we found. When the sunrise smiles on everything around. It's a portrait of the happiness that we feel and always will. Oh, it is enough to fill our lives with love. Oh, we spend our days like bright and
Does it have potential?
I can mess with it.
I know, right?
I really
Isn't
love
it-
the drums.
Isn't it so up? It makes me feel so happy. And if you ever feel like watching the backstory of all the family members, I think most of them got into drugs. Anyways.
I'm down. I'm about it. I'm very much into nostalgia, so this stuff
Right?
definitely speaks to
Yeah,
me.
it's
Like I collect
nostalgia.
records.
Yeah.
My VHS collection is taking over my bedroom.
Do you still play VHS?
Do you know Beretta?
Oh, Beretta,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Check it. Don't
Beretta's
you love
awesome.
that? Isn't that
It's
an
a
amazing
great
theme song?
Have you ever
Has
done
it been
anything with
used?
I haven't done it. I haven't done anything with it, but I have it in a collection of theme songs. Yeah, I haven't done anything with
that's
it.
cool.
I should check it out.
Yeah.
The thing is too that's funny is whenever somebody suggests that I do something, it always makes me want to like fuck with it way more.
Nice.
You know, because like Beretta, the thing about
Exciting.
Beretta is like you could loop Beretta and put drums on it and it'd be awesome. But like when someone says, "Hey, you should," that's the thing about it in the battles too. When they were like, "Use Price is Right," I was like, "Well, I gotta go in on this thing. I gotta get crazy. I gotta pull this thing apart because you're asking me to do it."
So is this your livelihood?
I mean, I'm an engineer
Mm-hmm.
and producer first, so I mean, I run sessions for artists. I record
Okay.
and mix and.
Do you ever
I
teach people how to use these things?
I do. I've been doing. I used to work at the St. Albans Boys and Girls
Yeah.
Club.
Oh, cool.
I used to run their studio
souvenir,
and yeah,
That's good.
yeah, and I did a lot of workshops there. And I did a workshop there, and it did really, really well. It did so well that they sent me to Jane and Finch, they sent me to West Mount Dennis. I was doing stuff all over the city, and then I would start touring, and I couldn't do anything. But I do a lot of I've done a lot of Long and McQuaid workshops across the country. I've done them all across the country, and I was involved in the STEMposium 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, at what's that school at Bathurst and Harbor there? Central Tech.
Mm-hmm.
They had it was like a workshop symposium, and I did 4 of them, and I was really scared because I normally do my production workshops for producers. Like if I'm going to Long McQuaid, people are musicians that want to learn how to, but they have a knowledge base, you know. so I'm more advanced. And they gave me 25 kids, ages 11 to 13, with no production experience.
Holy shit.
And I'm one guy, and they're like, well, and we're stressing that you engage them, that they're doing as much as they're listening. And I pitched what I do, and they were like, well, we want you to do it. Great, we want you to do it, but you got to do this. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with 11-year-olds? So I was freaking out. I was so scared. I was so nervous. And of course, it was awesome. I simplified everything, and we had a blast, and I flailed around, and I made jokes, and we had kids come up, and it was great.
And they were playing with the equipment?
Yeah, I couldn't get everybody. It's 25 kids.
Yeah,
I can't engage everyone with one guy, you know. So I would just bring them up one at a time to kind of do a little element, and then sit back down, and it was great. And I do love doing it. When I came out of school, my first gig, I got asked to intern for K-Cut, who I was telling you guys about, who's a big deal, like especially for a hip hop guy like me. And the first question they asked me, they were like, "Do you know how to use an MPC? Can you dump beats? Can you sync an MPC with Pro Tools and dump beats into it? Can you do that?" And I had no idea. But I said, "Yeah, of course. No, of course. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no big deal." And immediately went online and started reading FAQs and tried to get my hands on one, and I couldn't. And I mean, and that was one of the scariest days of my life too, because I get picked up by him, go to his house. They've been waiting for 2 weeks for an engineer that knows how to run the studio that they've built in his house.
Oh, wow.
So there's the the keyboard player, the artist, and one other producer, and me, and they've all been waiting. And we get there, and I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it on paper. Yeah. And I got there, and I was like, all right, guys, everybody take 15. Give me a second. I'll get myself sort of figured out. And then we started, and I never looked back, and it was it. I really like DJ Premier. So one of the things about DJ Premier is its use of space, and also nonsensical chops, like non-linear, like weird-sounding stuff. So I'm just gonna have to play this because I got So as an example, like I made this beat and it's just weird. It doesn't make any sense.
It is the
Yeah.
It is the hour when dogs howl. It is the
It's not really musical in a certain way.
It's like off tune, but it works.
Yeah, it's like it's just really funky and weird.
It is.
And there's that space in it, like there's that space in it where
dogs howl.
Where's that from?
you know, like that stuff. It's a radio show from the 40s.
Ooh, nice.
Right?
Nice.
So
That's
the wind
actually
is
brilliant.
blowing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the other thing. Hello?
Oh, it's
Hey.
Rubik's Cube.
Nice.
I like that.
With the 4x4 with the pads.
Cool.
Right?
Yes.
That's just the prototype. I'm trying to.
I love
mess
this.
with
I
my
love
new
the
brand.
Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, it's cool when you get with the 4x4 because it's
Very
all.
cool. Is that your friend? Is she here?
Yeah, she's here. She's cool.
Okay.
She's gonna chill.
Any risque questions that you want to
Any risque questions?
that you would
Do you have any risque questions for us? I'm just joking. What do you want to know?
So do you have like groupies? Do they call them groupies still these days?
That's a good
Is there any
question.
term?
That's okay? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I have
that's okay.
groupies?
Yeah.
You must have girls throwing themselves at you.
No, and it's kind of silly because I always laugh at those things because first of all, I play hip hop shows.
All right.
Right. So
Okay.
what's the ratio of guys to girls at a hip hop show? Let's just say. Let's start. Let's just run it. Let's just run the play. So okay. So at a hip hop show, the ratio is really bad, right? If I show up at 7:00, right, for sound check, I get some food. I'm there from 7 until 2 or 3 in the morning, right? So when I go, however many people show up, I only have maybe like a couple hours when I'm around somebody, like if I'm around women, right? And my chances of actually attracting a woman are greatly increased after I get off stage,
Right.
than before.
That makes sense.
So So she's seen this.
Yeah.
She knows.
Are you?
She's seen.
Do you get off the stage and like you're approached by swarmed by ladies?
No,
Okay.
no. Well, you're not swarmed by ladies when there aren't any swarms of women in these hip hop shows. So I literally, when do I get off stage? Well, depending on the night, maybe I get off stage and it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I have 1 hour to bed a woman.
To bed a woman. Did you say bed a woman?
I said bed a woman.
I love that. To bed a woman.
That's really not a good thing to say, but.
I like that. I like it too.
Like,
It's
I have
honest.
1 hour, and I'm like selling merch. I've got to sell merch. I've got to get paid. I've got to run around. Like, and there's how many girls are at these shows? There's not very many girls, and most of the people are people's girlfriends. There's no, it's not a thing. So my chances are really low. So when you talk about, do I have groupies throwing themselves at me? Like, no. I wish it were the case. Now, here's what I will say is, let's say on a bad year, I do 150 shows a year. So, so if the chances are bad, and they are bad, it's like, is it 1 in 20? Maybe not even 1 in 20. Let's say it is. Let's say it's 1 in 25 shows.
Right.
Okay, that's not good. It's probably less than that. But let's just say it's 1 in 25 shows. That means that's 6 in a year. If I do 150 shows, that means I have 6 women that I met and I slept with based on the fact that I was doing a show in a year. So I don't know. Is that swarms of women?
That sounds like a small swarm.